All right, welcome back, Rayton. So we were talking about Alfred Lothar Wegener presenting his evidences that the plates are moving. Unfortunately, so hindi po naging sapat yung mga evidences na pinaset niya to prove that the tectonic plates or the continents are actually moving. So, however, after he died, more evidences actually appeared, and these evidences came from the navigation or the mapping of the ocean floor. And what they use in mapping the ocean floor is what we call the sonar. So this is what we call the sonar. Now, sonar is an acronym for navigation, sound navigation, and ranging. Okay, so dito sa ship na to, if you can see here in the photograph or in the diagram, you can see a ship there that produces the sonar, okay, or the sound. So that sound will be delivered down to the ocean floor, papunta sa ocean floor. It will be reflected back to the sonar, so dun sa machine nila, and more like of an ultrasound na ginagamit kapag pregnancy mother to see what's the inside or to see the fetus inside of her belly, na re-record nito or na-detect nito kung ano man yung nasa ilalim or nasa ocean floor. Kung ano yung mga features or structures or kung gaano kalalim, how deep the ocean floor or the seafloor really is. So it was developed in the 1930s, no? So with the use of the sonar, they were able to see an underwater system of mountains. So there are mountains, valleys, volcanoes, and ridges, no? Dun sa ilalim ng dagat. Now, what is the help of the mapping or ano po yung purpose ng mapping of the ocean floor? When they mapped the ocean floor, they discovered one of the things that they discovered is ridges, and one of the ridges that they discovered is this great MidAtlantic Ridge, no? This great MidAtlantic Ridge. So it is called MidAtlantic Ridge, one, because it is found in the Atlantic Ocean. So here, you can see, here is the Atlantic Ocean. And that ridge is found at the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, dun sa gitna ng Atlantic Ocean. So here in this diagram, you can see the the Atlantic Ocean here, which is found between the North and South Americas and Europe and Africa. So sa gitna po niyan, sa ilalim ng dagat, there's a ridge. So as we all know, ridge is formed when two tectonic plates either are diverging or naghihiwalay. So itong malaking hiwa na yan, they call it the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. So ano ang kinalaman nitong Mid-Atlantic Ridge, or what is the importance of discovering the Mid-Atlantic Ridge in proving that the tectonic plates really are moving? So Harry Hayes provided an explanation for this Mid-Atlantic Ridge. So this scientist, after Wegener, came Harry Hayes. So he's the scientist who explored and provided explanation for this Mid-Atlantic Ridge. Okay, so in his explanation, he provided us with a theory known as the seafloor spreading theory. So as you can see here in the GIF, so dito sa presentation ko, new magma or new rocks or new crust is formed here dito sa gitna, okay? Here in the middle. So this is what we call the sea floor spreading center. So this is where the molten rocks coming from this part is oozing out of the earth. So dyan po lumalabas yung molten rocks, ano? So this seafloor spreading center is actually in between two plates, which we call a divergent boundary. So it's found sa center ng divergent boundary or two plates that are moving away from each other. So in between them, bakit ba sila nagmo-move away from each other? Because magma coming from this part is oozing out of the earth, no? And when they get out of the earth, kapag lumabas po sila dyan sa area na yan, the magma solidifies, titigas siya as solid rocks because ang makikita niya kagad ang sasalubong sa kanila is ocean, no? Liquid water. So kapag tumigas na siya bilang bagong bato, okay, or bagong part ng crust, so once more, magma will continue to ooze out of that seafloor spreading center. So paulit-ulit lang po, patuloy po yung proseso. Okay? So patuloy yung proseso ng paglabas ng magma, pag-solidify, and then that's one of the reasons why these plates here, let's name this plate A, and plate B. So that is the reason why they spread out. Okay? That is the reason why they move away from each other because magma is continuously oozing out dyan sa seafloor spreading center. Now, what evidences did our scientists provide para mapatunayan that the seafloor spreading theory or the seafloor is really moving? Now, they examined, number one, the ages of the rocks that are found sa gitna, dito sa spreading center, palayo. And what they found out when they compared the ages of the rocks coming from here near the spreading center, tapos dito, palayo ng palayo, they found out that older rocks are found here away from the spreading center. And younger rocks are found here sa may spreading center. Because dyan po nabubuo, sa spreading center nabubuo yung mga bagong bato. And as they move away from the spreading center, nadadagdagan yung age nila. That is why they become older as they go away from the spreading center. Okay? So here is another diagram that shows the seafloor spreading theory. Okay? So you can see from this diagram that the magma is oozing out of the earth through the seafloor spreading center or the spreading center, and they move away. The two plates are moving away from each other. Another evidence that was used to prove that the seafloor really is spreading or moving away is magnetic reversals. So we call it geomagnetism or the magnetic reversals. So ano po ang ibig sabihin ng tong magnetic reversals na to? They examined again the rocks here, dito malapit sa seafloor spreading center. So here, and then they examined the rocks that are away from the seafloor spreading and those that are furthest from the seafloor spreading centers. Okay? And what they found out, it's not just the age that varies, hindi lang po yung age yung nagbabago, also the orientation of the magnetic rocks that are found there. So there are rocks there that have magnetic materials. And these magnetic materials orient themselves, ino-orient po nila yung mga sarili nila based on the orientation of the North and South Pole, or the orientation of the polarity or the magnetic polarity of our Earth. Now, ano pong ibig sabihin nun? We all know that the North Pole is found on the north and the South Pole is found at the south. But it's not always the case. So millions of years, many times, nagbabago po yung orientation nitong polarity or magnetic polarity ng ating Earth. Before, yung North Pole was not always in the North Pole. It's found at the South Pole. And South Pole is not always in the South Pole. It's found at the North Pole. So nagbabago po. So yun po yung tinatawag natin na magnetic flipping. Okay? Or the magnetic reversal. And that magnetic reversal is recorded doon sa mga magnetic materials na makikita natin sa mga rocks. Like for example, in this diagram. So in this diagram, so the rocks here in the spreading center, yung mga magnetic materials po dyan ay nakatutok on that or naka-orient on that direction. As another magma oozes out of the earth or the spreading center, okay, natutulak po yung yellow na yan, yung part na yan, nandito na siya, and here, new magma or new crust is formed because of the magma that is coming out of this spreading center. So it records the polarity or the orientation of the polarity of our earth. So this time, yung polarity naman po ay naka-orient to that direction. Okay? And the process continues. So ito po yung tinatawag nila na magnetic reversals. It's recorded in the rocks. Alright, so to sum it all up, guys, seafloor spreading theory is another theory that would support the claim that the Earth's plates really are moving. And as you can see in this diagram, that is that seafloor spreading is found here in the ocean. So here is the seafloor spreading, and sa gitna niyan, doon po makikita yung tinatawag natin na ridge. Okay? So sa ridge po, sa spreading center, doon makikita yung ating ridge. Hence the MidAtlantic Ridge. Okay? Now, why? Because magma is continuously oozing out or lumalabas po, patuloy na lumalabas dyan sa spreading center yung magma. Okay? Now, as the magma moves out of that spreading center, natutulak po niya yung mga dating crust or yung mga dating bato, here, yung mga older crust, sideways. So that process is known as the ridge push because there's a push that is happening in the ridge. And take a look at this, guys. This is a continental crust. This is an oceanic crust. We all know that this one is an oceanic crust. And we all know that an oceanic crust is denser and heavier, but thinner. Okay? So in this area, we have a continental crust. And here we have an oceanic crust. And we know that the direction of this oceanic crust is going toward the continental crust. And this continental crust is going toward the oceanic crust. So we have what we call a convergent boundary in this area. So if we have a divergent boundary in this area, we also have a convergent boundary in this area. And the crusts involved are continental crust and oceanic crust. Since oceanic crust is heavier and denser, it will undergo the process called subduction. Siya po yung lulubog. Okay? Now, as this oceanic crust is subducting or habang lumulubog po siya, gravity is now felt by this crust. So tumutulong po yung gravity. So gravity is helping this crust or this slab of rock to get or to be pulled down. So habang tinutulak po siya dito sa ridge push in this area, habang tinutulak po niya yung crust papunta diyan, hinihila naman yung part niya dito ay hinihila naman ng gravity. So this is what we call the slab pull, because this slab is being pulled by gravity. Now this, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call the seafloor spreading theory. This is what we call the seafloor spreading theory that proves that the seafloor really is spreading out or moving. Remember, guys, that you will see no hole in here, okay, because new rocks are formed in this area as the magma oozes out of that ridge. So wala pong nababawas na crust. It just continuously it is continuously being recycled.